Hello, Audrey here. Had a few requests for a blanket stitch tutorial, so I'm going to show you how to do that today. I'm going to start off with a fairly long piece of thread with a knot 5 or 6 times at one end. And you're going to decorate your felt pieces, sandwich them together, and going in between the two layers of felts, come through from the middle to the front, sandwiching the knot and tail in between your two layers. To anchor that first stitch, you're going to go through the same hole, but from the back to the front this time. And you'll see that once you do that, it attaches the two pieces together, the two layers together. Now that you have your anchor stitch in, you're going to go to the next hole and go in from the front to the back. Just before you pull it all the way through, you're going to catch that loop with your needle, and you have your first blanket stitch. You're going to repeat that, just making sure that you're always going through from the front to the back. Catch your loop. And you'll notice that I pull a little bit to the left with each stitch. I find it tightens them enough, and you don't need to do it, with any great deal of force. It just tightens them enough so that they're all uniform stitches. Sometimes if I don't do that, I find that the stitch gets kind of loopy and loose, and I don't really care for how that looks. So I always pull a little bit gently to make sure that each stitch is tight. I'm using the Falling Leaves 2 dies from Poshta Design's August 2025 release. I have a few projects using them on my Instagram page and the rest of the release. It's a really great one, so check that out if you haven't already. If you forget to pick up your loop, you'll see that it's easy enough to do that. I forgot to pick up that loop, and so you just slide your needle in there and keep on going. It's a fairly easy stitch once you get going, as long as you can keep your thread out of the way. That's the hardest part when you're dealing with a very long piece of thread, but I like to start with a longer piece of thread, so I'm not stopping and starting in the middle. You can see that sometimes I use my left thumb to kind of keep the thread out of the way and keep it from getting tangled until it gets a little bit shorter. You'll see that even though we're going into the curve of this leaf, the stitch just follows the curve of the shape. And it's done exactly the same way all the way around the perimeter. I'm going to speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch me sew the whole thing in real time. But I do apologize. I had some corrupt footage that I couldn't use, so hopefully you're seeing enough that answers questions that you have. But if you have a question that's not answered here, just shoot me a message, Instagram, or in the comments, and I'll be happy to try to explain things the best I can. This is my first video, so I'm a little bit nervous. You'll have to forgive me. But you're just going to go around the perimeter of the leaf, and I find this to be a really relaxing stitch too. It's fun to watch it all come together. And the contrasting thread is really fun as well. Now you'll see once we get to the bottom of the leaf, I'll slow things down a little bit, but the stitch is exactly the same. You're just basically going to be going through the same holes on the stem of the leaf from the right side, and then again from the left side. And you may have to finagle with your thread a little bit to get it to go around or lay the right way. Like go around the bottom of the stem and lay nicely. You'll see that I have to do that when I get to this point. Now, part of the footage with the end of ending the stitch completely got cut off. So I'm going to tell you how I do that. So basically, once you get all the way around the leaf, I get to the last stitch, and I pick up the stitch right next to it, tie a little bit knot, a double knot, and then I would hide my ends just like I would in any other project. Just putting the needle through the center in between the layers and pulling to hide the tails. So I hope that helps.